All right, so I've been working on this Caboose for a friend. I just got it yesterday. It's another one of these Athearn Genesis sound cars. Now, the decoder from Soundtracks, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great decoder. Just like if you buy the sound car decoder separately, but it's set up a little different where some lights come on the sides. And, like with most sound cars, you have the clickety clack and all that. But in order to consist this to your engine, you need to have a magnet. Now I've got one that I've modified. It's actually something Soundtracks sells, but you don't have to buy that. You just want a magnet. And I was all over the top of this thing because the decoder has to see a magnet, and then you'll hear like a brake release, which it sounds like a chain dropping it over the edge of something. That's the best way to describe it. I just got to say, I've been working on. I've got another chassis one. I'm getting ready to paint some interior parts. I had to do the same thing with 40 thousandths styrene, build it up 3 steps. This is built up with 6 pieces of styrene to get this board up to the roof. And it's still very much hit or miss to get it where, because I don't know exactly where the magnet has to hit on here. With it this high now, I have to sand it just a little bit. So originally these things have 2 little pegs in each end, and they're spaced differently on the ends, so you can't like put it on the wrong way. I cut those off, and then I just start stacking these styrene pieces. This is way too low. The other thing I do, I don't know if I can. There you go. In the middle of the screen, you should see something that looks kind of silvery. That's the speaker. And this is the other side. I mill a slot, or you can just drill. If you're going to do that, I would remove these 2 screws. This is a plastic retainer, and then carefully remove the speaker and drill from here down. And you want to be careful because there's details underneath here that you don't want to blow through that and then break. But you definitely want to drill some holes in there. Now I've got another video. I'll see if I can link it. And it was on this one, a before and after having that slot in there. If you don't have a mill, you can always just pop that apart like I mentioned and drill, say, like 2 holes. And I wouldn't go anything much bigger than an 1/8. So if you're only able to do it in the center, and just like 2, I'd say 2 holes. Try listening to it with the shell on it, the way it came from the factory. And then when you get in here, this stuff, like I said, you may have to pry it just a little bit because of the tabs, but it'll pop right out. And then you can just undo the wires, just keep track of where they go. And all the detail will come off. There's these 2 screws, and you take those off. And then what I do is I have, it's not laying out here right now, I guess, is like a little chisel X-Acto blade, and I run it kind of between the detail part and just carefully work my way, and it pops right off. I'm not even sure why they glue it, because those 2 screws hold it perfectly. And then I'm able to clamp it because there's nothing down here that's fragile. I just take a little paper towel or something so it doesn't mar up the surface. So that might be a good idea. Maybe grip it a little bit closer to the speaker so you don't have this diving board effect, because if you clamp it down here, you've got a lot of leverage between the two, and you don't want to bend or break something. So if you're able, pinch it closer and just pop those 2 holes through. And if it's controlled, if you're able to control it enough, then it won't go through so far to hit. There's really only like 1 rod that goes right across there. And I'm just saying you don't want to damage that. But if you're able to get that bottom off, because this one was different. Some pieces stayed on the weight, whereas on this one, everything came off. And it was just the weight. So I didn't have to worry about breaking anything. I just pinched both ends in the mill and just ran it back and forth until I had a slot. And then I would say put it back together, throw it on your track, and you're going to see that it is so much better sounding. This is where I've had enough. If you've got this and you're able to use a magnet on it, like I've never seen one use it yet. You can turn the lights on up here and all that good stuff, but to try to wave the magnet, and I've been able to wave it on either side, and you can't do it up here because this is set up much higher. This one doesn't have that. It's got a flat top on it. So yeah, it's 100% Athearn Genesis, and it's crap. Okay, they've got good detail on them, but the way that this is designed to have to lift this up over almost a 1/4 inch to get it close enough to the roof, so when you go to use your magnet, I've had it trip on this side and this side. It's like you're fishing, trying to find something in the dark. And between not having a way to let the sound out, where they're super, super muffled. Now, I challenge you, after you have the 2 holes in there, you're going to see what I mean. I didn't do it before and after, but I did on this one and gained 19 decibels. So when this is blowing its whistle, it measured 98 decibels. That's insane. Before it was 79, which is quieter than me speaking right now. You just can't barely hear it. And this one was so muffled, it was insane. Athearn, you really need to get your crap together. And they probably won't do it unless enough people complain. And if you guys are going to keep buying them, they're not going to change a thing. I plan on reaching out. I mean, whoever is designing these things, like I said, there's a lot of good detail, but it's got to have a slot in it to let that sound out. And it's day and night. The other thing, like I said, really having to stack 6 of these tall to get this up to the roof, that is unacceptable. You guys really need to get your crap together. And the whole deal where if you do have one that has lights on the end, they're wired in on what would be, it's still function 0, but I've said it before, And I'm just closing with this statement. So if this is the end of your train and you got the Fred back here flashing, and then you change direction, you want to back your train up, it automatically goes from this light to the light on this end. Why? Why would you want to do that? You still want, if you're going forward or backward, you want the end of train, the Fred, to stay on down there. Now, that's the way it comes from the factory. So, what I did on this one, I meant to stay just on the Union Pacific, but this is FX3 at the far left. I pulled the wire. I was going to put a wire, one of my lights on there, so I'd have function 3 and 4. And when I turn those on, the end lights are going to flash. If I turn on FX3, one end is going to flash. I can turn on FX4, the other end will flash. I can have them both on at the same time if I want to. It does not matter what direction I'm going, and that's the way it should be. The only problem is, with all the other sound cars, you have a headlight function, but I don't want to use it. You got two outputs, forward and reverse, for 0. On here, FX3 matches function 3, which is your short whistle. I don't want to lose my short whistle. So I've got one light going to the FX4, which happens to be function 4. And then the next one I had to skip over because there's lights on the other side here. See that by my thumb? Another one in the middle and one at the end. Those are your interior lights. F5, you can remap it, but it's whatever you remap it to, the same tab down here that says FX5 is going to go with it. So that's for your interior lights. So for me, I went to function FX4 and FX6. So I have to press function 4 and 6 on my cab to control the end lights. And on this one, I don't think I'm going to change anything. I do, and I still plan on knocking off the rest of these little plastic things on the end. Those are garbage. That is, sooner or later, you get oxidization on things that are not soldered. Proof, a car battery. You can go out there and try to start your car, and you're like, the battery's low. You take the clamp off, both of them, use a cleaner, put them back on, and then it fires right up. I mean, those things are clamped on fairly well. So if it can happen on your car battery terminal, it definitely is going to happen on this stuff. And it's a bit more sensitive. So the only one I hadn't done yet is that's like the common power for the lights up here. The lights on this one are bright because they're right there. The board that's up inside here, the LEDs point the direction they should. There was only one of these that had the lights on the end, and they had an LED that, trying to remember, I want to say it faced up, and that's why on the inside top it's painted black. And then I broke that little nub off so I could get mine closer to the ceiling as well. But I don't need it because my LED isn't going to be here. But from the factory it is. It's in this there's a little box area here, and then there's a little retainer, and this little round thing is where you would put your screw in to hold that little circuit board down. It had to go through a light pipe up, go 90 degrees, and then down on an angle, and then out. And you get next to zero light coming out the end here. Now, the way I did this one is I still utilized, you can see there's a channel. If you look inside, I can't really point to it very well. I carefully popped that all apart. It goes right up to the above the door. And then the LED is right behind that lens, and it's a red LED. And my other video breaks that down. So anyway, I mainly just came on here to vent a little bit because I'm sick of this. I've done a few of them. I don't mind helping people, but people are paying, up to $150 for these things, and they suck. It's not Soundtrack's fault. I mean, I don't know who decided when you go in reverse that your lights should, change from one end to the other. I got rid of that. And I've got another video if you're to want to know how. This is a current keeper. I painted it. It's a current keeper 2. So it still has 5 capacitors on here. And I had the the bell going, and I took it off the table for at least, it's probably a minute. And me and my friend just, we're talking and stuff, and I'm like, I'm tired of hearing it. So I put it back on the track and turned it off. These are very important. My track is very, very clean right now. And when this thing is sitting on the track, it is cutting out left and right. So this little plug at the end, that's where you plug it in. Now, like I said, his LEDs point right out, so he has no light problem. On this one, I've got at least like 2 videos going over that, where you can see the wires plugged into mine. The blue wire has a full 14 volts out. And so both my LEDs on the end tie right into that on its way. It ends up here. You can't really see it very well, but that's where those blue wires are going. Yeah, there you go. And that's full voltage. And then on my LEDs, I've got a 47,000 ohm resistor, because these red LEDs are pretty sensitive. And if I haven't put a link, I'll go ahead and put a link. And if I have put a link on, because I just did another video on this one, and I think I broke down everything and where to get the LEDs and everything. This is only the second type that I've seen, but it is so much taller. This thing right here is the same as mine. The only difference is mine's painted black. And I like to paint these things this kind of like the color he has, because that's the color I remember seeing inside the Caboose. And then I'll probably detail the chairs a little bit, just so when you look through the window, you can, see things inside. And that's why I paint this black, the current keeper, because it comes white. And it says like Soundtrack's current keeper 2 on there. I don't want to see that through the window, so I just paint it black. So I'm getting ready to detail mine. I'm not going to do that on his. His came with it having the color I'm wanting to paint it. One size does not fit all. That is not tall enough. I mean, like I said, I just kept adding, cutting a piece off and adding and adding and adding. 6 pieces of styrene, almost a 1/4 inch, to get this board up where it needs to be. So the magnet can, the decoder can see the magnet. That is awful. And it being an Athearn Genesis, I would expect a hell of a lot more than what they're doing. If they keep selling these things, they really need to pay attention, because what they got here is junk. And if you spend $150 on one of these, you're not going to be, you want to put it on the track and know it's going to do what it should. And the way it comes sucks.